Hi everybody, it's Kevin Till again, Koipetka, and we last was promising you that we're going to be sending you and taking you right through the fish room, and here we are. I'm very pleased to be talking today to the CEO, Hannes Stradom. Thanks very much for your time.
Thanks.
Hannes, please explain to us WCB and the holding company and how the whole setup
How it works.
is.
Okay,
Yes.
so basically all that happens is we have a WCB holding company, which then has WCB Imports, WCB Fish Room, WCB International, which is in Japan, and then Koipetka. So basically from start to finish, we do everything from all the fish, tanks, equipment, food, everything you will need, you can get from here.
So this is a one-stop shop, literally.
This is a one-stop shop, yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
I also want to just remind the viewers that no matter what level of interest you are with regards to fish, if you're a connoisseur, you're going to find something very interesting to see today as well. If you are a beginner or you want your child to have for the first time, have a little goldfish bowl, it all starts with those little steps.
It's a hobby for everyone.
It's a hobby for everyone. So many times, Hannes, am I right? You know, the fish have got family names.
Yes,
You know, part of the pets, so it's great. But okay, let's go on to something and understand a little bit more about the fish room. Can you please just tell me, we've got, am I right, we've got marine fish that's here.
Yeah.
Then we've got tropical fish.
Yes.
And then we've got cold water fish.
Yes. Yeah, so what we basically did is, so imports usually brought in the fish in boxes. So you got high quantities of fish that was imported directly from overseas. So let's say you got an average of 30 fish per box. Now in fish room, what we did is we divided that up. So now you can get marines, tropicals, your cold water in one box from us at lower quantities. So now the stores that can't take the higher quantities will now be able to get from fish room. And if they want the higher quantities, they can get from imports.
We're now talking about pet shops that the viewers go
That's
and
correct.
visit.
Yes, that's correct. So all the pet stores will get different lists from us, and then they can decide how many they want of each fish, and that's also very price dependent. So the more you take, the cheaper the price. So a lot of pet stores tend to go for box lots, the bigger pet stores. It's a bit less variety, but you get more quantities, and that causes a lower price. Then on fish room, you can get a lot more in one box.
Right.
You can get 10 of this, and you get your variety. So often, if you don't have enough fish tanks, you get from fish room, and then you get all the variety of fish you still need and what clients want.
Thank you for explaining that, because in a lot of cases, you get smaller pet shops and then you get larger pet shops.
Yeah.
And each, what you're really saying is you create a win-win situation for them. And of course, also a benefit for the client.
Yeah, so generally, because we only opened fish room about 2 years ago. So people only could buy from imports. And what happened is the fact that people couldn't take that big quantities, we opened fish room. Ideally for the fact that you can take smaller quantities and also cater for smaller pet stores.
In terms of types of fish,
Yes.
I know there are many different, when we go through the fish room and see all the tanks. I mean, how many tanks have we got here, by the way?
Well, currently we just have over 700 fish tanks, about 40 different ponds, koi ponds. And then we're expanding now and we're adding almost another 300 fish tanks now. So then we're going to roughly have about 1,100 fish tanks in the facility.
So am I right, if a viewer goes to his local pet shop and says, I would like to buy a particular tropical fish,
yeah.
You will have it, generally.
99% of the time we'll have
You're going to have it.
Yes. Otherwise, we can get it in a week's time.
Or you can source it.
I can source it, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
correct.
So if we don't have it, we source it from the various countries. We currently have we deal with probably 22 countries at the moment where we can source fish from. So you'll most of the time get it from us, yes.
And then also from a proudly South African perspective, you not only import, but you export as well.
Yes, that's correct. So currently we export to places such as Mozambique. We do Mauritius. We're actually now busy with a shipment for Mauritius. That is probably about 30 boxes going out to Mauritius. Then we also do Zambia, Botswana, Namibia. So there's quite a big variety we do. Africa, we're actually trying to expand now more North Africa. So we're going to start doing that side now.
Tell me a little bit about, the Japanese have a saying, I keep saying that, learn how to keep water, then you have fish.
Yes.
And how true it is. But in terms of the differences between marine, tropical, and your cold water, it all comes down to the water quality.
Yes, that's correct.
In a nutshell. What useful tips or what faults, common faults, do you find that most people, where they go wrong?
A guy going to a pet store, buying a fish, going home, most of the time the biggest fault a guy makes is do 2 big water changes. So most places, I've heard people do a full tank water change, brand new water, which you can't do. That's something you can't do because that's basically just putting yourself in a completely new environment, and then you won't survive. You're not going to be used to that environment. So now taking a fish out of the water he knows and putting him in brand new water, which is chlorine, which is a chloramine, the new thing they're putting in the water, pH might be different. So your fish then lose their slime coat and then tend to die. So my biggest rule is never do more than a 20% water change on any of your fish.
So is that, Hannes, what I've just seen? There were fish that have just arrived.
Yes.
And you put them in tanks that are already prepared, but
all
the fish were in their bags still. So conditioning with the temperature and that kind of thing before they get.
Yeah.
So what we can tell the viewers really, in a nutshell, those that are beginning with fish, is just small steps. Get the fish used to the temperature and also not just, as you said, just pour the bowl full of.
Generally, it's better to rather float the fish for a few minutes, get the temperature in the bags up to standard, same as your tank. Then I usually like to tell people to open the bag, add a bit of your water to the bag.
Okay? Good idea.
Then they get used to what's in your water as well.
Right.
But you can't leave the bag open too long because the moment you open the bag, there's no more oxygen.
Right.
So I would say 10 minutes, add a cup of water, 5 minutes, add a cup of water. Then you take the fish out of the bag, put them in the tank, not my water or not the pet store's water. The water that's in the bag where you got the thing from never goes into your tank.
Okay.
Because there might be bacteria and anything like that. So generally, just the fish are caught and put in the tank, and that's it.
That's part of the quarantining process.
That's part of the quarantine.
That one talks about.
Yes. Yeah, so generally our quarantine period's anything from 7 days to 10 days. In that period, they go through various forms of medication. We see what's their behavior. And generally, you'll see if fish is not happy in a tank, he'll either clamp his fins or the slime coat. He'll start losing that. And then you can see it. They either hang on top of the water and it looks like they gasp for oxygen. And then you have to change your conditions, put in more, let's say softer water, you drop your pH or you add different medication just to get them fine in your environment.
So the pectoral fins, you're talking about the fins on the sides.
Side, back, bottom fin, they clamp it. So they pull it in completely. It looks like they're just hovering there, and then you know they're not happy in the water. That's a sign. That, and also if a fish tends to go dark in color, he loses his color, you know he's not happy in the water.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So you'll basically, if you have a look here, you can see all the fish are swimming with open fins. They're very happy.
Pretty healthy.
They're moving. Yes. Like your discus fish that you see there is your most common fish that clamps.
Right.
Goes dark in color, and then then they're not happy. Yeah.
I see.
And they're probably your most difficult tropical fish to keep your discus. Yeah. They're very hard to adapt. They can't live with a lot of other fish. So yeah, if you can keep them alive, it's good.
An interesting thing that I've also seen upstairs is that you've got another series of fish tanks where you've got snails.
Yes.
And you've also got water plants. Obviously, water plants, we know from a koi perspective the value of water plants,
yes.
in fish tanks. And I see some beautiful water plants.
Yeah, your plants has a lot of benefits. Firstly, they pull out ammonia out of the water, so it's almost like a secondary filter.
Right.
They put in oxygen in your water, so load shedding, there's always a bit of extra oxygen in your water.
Well, now that's interesting that you say.
Yes. And then also, remember, plants generate a lot of, almost like slime on it as well. So fish tend to eat the slime of it. You get fish that will destroy a plant, but then you get fish that live off a plant, like these. You can put in live plants with them, and they won't touch the plants, but it's beneficial for them.
Okay, I see.
Especially fish that tend to like softer water do very well with plants. Your plants tend to make your water a bit softer.
I've always thought that the snails in a fish tank is hazardous, but I've been told that it also helps control the algae,
yes.
And it also helps to clean the fish tank itself.
It feeds off everything that lies at the bottom. So anything that can damage your tank, they'll feed off. There is 1 or 2 types of snails that are hazardous, but the general one, the nearite snails, which is your zebra, your spotted, they're perfect. They're fine for your system, obviously not with plants because they'll eat the plants,
Right.
but they tend to keep your glass clean. Your fish will leave them alone, they'll leave the fish alone. So it's quite a nice ecosystem you can build with snails.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Just leave
That's
the
what I
plant.
was getting down to,
Yeah.
an ecosystem.
Yes, yes.
Okay, no, that's great. I also understand, you know, in terms of packaging, there's different ways of packaging. If you can tell me, you know, with season changes, does packaging change?
Yes.
How do you then transport?
So there's a big change from how we pack fish during the summer and
Right.
during the winter.
Okay.
So summer is generally easy, but what people forget is in summer when it's hotter, the oxygen dissipates a lot quicker. So in summer we tend to add a little bit less water, more oxygen for longer travel.
Right.
And no heat packs because the temperature stays quite stable. If the
Okay.
temperature drops a degree or two, you're still fine. In winter comes the problem. So what happens is the less water you have, the temperature will drop quicker, okay? And then we add heat packs. So what we do in winter, we almost add another 20% of water. So the more water, the more stable the temperature, and then we add the heat packs. If we would swap it around and a summer pack will happen in winter, because it's such a small amount of water in the bags, the water will go a lot colder quicker. And then, yeah. So it's a big change. And then we also move away from cardboard boxes. We go to polystyrene boxes, which is more, it isolates the temperature a lot better. And then, like I said, we add heat packs. So that's the main difference between summer and winter packs. And you have to acclimate your fish longer. It has to float on your tank a lot longer than it would in summer.
So in general, for everybody to know, from cold water to hot water or warm water is more favorable than the other way around.
That's correct. Yeah.
A fish with warm water going into cold water will be shocked immediately.
Yes. So in winter, all my koi are moved outside
right.
because then they go from cold temperature to colder or warmer temperature.
Okay.
So they're fine with it. But if I have koi on the inside, in the indoor facility, which is going to run 22 degrees, and now you move it to an outdoor facility, they won't do well. So in summer, it doesn't matter where I keep them, outside or inside, but in winter, they have to all be outside so that they can go to a warmer temperature when we move them. Yeah.
If we can move over then to Koipetka.
Yes.
Koipetka, am I right? That's another part of the holding company.
Yes, that's our sister company. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
And on that side, everything from fish tanks through to
products,
pumps,
food, yeah.
to filters, also your dry goods.
Yes. So what Koipetka does in essence is you can stop there, you can get your fish tank, you can get your gravel, your heater, your pumps, lights, you can get everything there. Your food, we have a new range called API, so it's probably one of the best, if not the best, water medicators. So it's a conditioner, they do medications, they do tests. They even have a chemi-absorb, which is almost 20 times better than normal charcoal carbon. So it pulls out all the stuff out of the water a lot quicker. So anything you want, you can get there. We do set up tanks already where it comes with a wooden cabinet, lights, pumps already included. So you buy it, set it up at home, it's done.
Hannes, on the dry goods side, we've also got seasonal foods and foods for specific applications.
Yes. So Hikari basically you get your gold, your staple, all those, which is fine to feed in the summer. Especially what people tend to do is they think you can feed color enhancing food straight through the year, which you can't. So what happens is with the color enhancing food, if it goes into your water and your koi don't eat it quick enough, it does affect your water. And also because it's high in protein, the koi fish in winter, their digestive system slows down. Mm-hmm. So in winter we have a wheat germ food, which is very good. If it doesn't get eaten, it doesn't dissolve in your water. It doesn't affect your water. The ammonia doesn't go up, nitrates doesn't go up. Then you also get a multi-season, which you can feed from January up until December. Mm-hmm. But what we usually recommend is in summer, you go to your staple gold. So you get your growth, you get your color from those foods. And then in winter, I would say June, July, August, you go over to your wheat germ, and you know that it won't affect your water. There's not too much protein for the fish that they can't digest during that time.
Right.
So you do get different foods, where with your tropical fish you don't, but on your cold water and your koi and stuff, you get different types of food. And most people don't know that. Most people don't know that you have to feed food that's dependent on the season.
No, absolutely. I agree with you totally. And this is also why I was saying that I've also seen that in the pet shops what you supply is you supply cichlid foods, all in little packs in the shelves, make it very, very easy for, for the viewers to be able to regulate how much food. Because I think a lot of times the problem is overfeeding.
Yes, that's correct.
But the directions are nicely indicated on how to feed.
So what's also nice about the curry brand is especially it's a Ziploc bag. A lot of people buy a big bag, put it in a normal bucket, and you lose a lot of your nutrients by being in that bucket. Okay. So all the curry bags, they seal, or you get a proper bucket that seals, and then you know you don't lose any nutrients or nothing can get into that bag. A lot of times the air that goes into the food does affect it. It's not as good as it should be.
Correct.
So that's why all their packets, tropical food, everything, you can seal it with a Ziploc, and then you know the food stays fresh. It's something as simple as that people don't know.
Yeah, and it's very, very important, let's face it. Yeah. In terms of what Koipetka do with, from a distribution perspective, you distribute across...
Koipetka also distributes to Africa. We actually, with Koipetka and WCB International, trying to source now to start shipping it from Japan via Koipetka to Europe. So we are getting new avenues now. We're trying to get more brands in, new brands in, but the general idea is to start distributing to the whole of Africa, and we actually want to start reaching the European market now as well, especially now with WCB International, we're able to do it. And as our sister company, we link in as much as possible to make it cheaper and easier for everyone.
When we talk about dry goods, one of the things that I really do like within your range is the oyster shells.
Yes.
Because in a lot of cases, you and I, when we went in to Japan, we saw how the filtration systems there, and it is just oyster shells all over the show, just to show how well they manage and how effective it is.
Yes, exactly.
And I really like the the product that has arrived. But what I wanted to also just mention about the oyster shells is, of course, it's a gradual process. Anything, am I right, whether it's a fish tank fish or an outdoor fish or a goldfish pond, anything that is dramatic in terms of pH change, ammonia change, temperature change will affect the fish. So one must be very, very careful about that.
Yes.
And that's what I like about the oyster shells, is that when you need to raise the pH and make it more alkaline, it is a slow, gradual process which doesn't damage the fish in the long term.
Yes, where people tend to put in a lot of pH up, and that shoots the pH up, or hydrogen peroxide drops the pH. Yeah. But it's such a quick thing that it happens within seconds, and the fish don't adapt well enough. Yes. Oyster shells is very, very gradual. You won't actually believe how slow it is. It sometimes takes a week, 2 weeks to get to where you want it.
Yes.
And but it's a lot better for the fish. It's a lot more safe for them. So if they can just put an oyster in a bottle now, it would be great.
Yeah, I agree. Another part of the business which I'm quite impressed about is really going solar. I see the solar feeders and eco-friendly products, energy efficient solar pumps.
Yes. So we're trying to, because of where not only our country is, but where we're going, electricity is becoming a problem not only here, but worldwide. So everything, the whole facility will, by end of this year, go solar. So our whole facility will run off solar. Firstly, we're going to go for daytime, and then later on we'll go purely off-grid. Also, your pumps, your products, all those things last a lot longer if it's off-grid. There's no spikes, nothing like that. Right. Except for that, we went solar on feeders for koi. So now when you're not there, you just put the solar feeder on, and your koi gets the food. For your tanks, you get your battery operated feeders. So so we try and be more efficient, electricity-wise, saving more money regarding that, being more eco-friendly. That's the main objective of what we all want to achieve currently.
And of course, I noticed that you do some testing as well when it comes to eco pumps and more energy efficient pumps for the public to use.
Yes.
Which is also great.
Yeah, we tend to, all the different pumps, we try to compare them and see what runs the best, what has a longer lifespan, how they operate, how they work. We have new pumps that completely, the whole pump, it's a 0.8 kilowatt that runs completely off solar. You have to have space, it's 8-9 panels, but it's off grid. So you can run a 20,000 litre pump without paying electricity now.
And that certainly does help with the bottom line, let's face it.
No, definitely.
Hannes, I want to thank you so very much for your time, and thank you very much that the company has allowed us to showcase what there is for the viewers. And just to let you know as well that what Hannes was talking about, 90% of fish that you are looking for, they have it and will supply it. Thanks once again for your time.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Well, that's a wrap, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. And boys and girls, if you also had a look and saw all the colorful fish, I like the tomato clown, but have a look, and you can also Google as well. There's a couple of really, really nice, pretty colors. Thank you. Right, everybody, just to let you know, as we have just completed with the fish room and seen all the exciting fish here that is available and all the products that are available. So what's the next step? So let's go and have a look under the microscope. We'll go and see parasites. We'll go and understand what is a parasite, bacteria and fungus infections. How do you pick up that a beautiful fish like this has got a problem and proactively help your pet? So we're going to concentrate on medication on the next series.